all of you. Tomorrow we will reach the 103rd anniversary of the date of 19th of May 1919, which is a significant turning point in the independence struggle of our nation. It's also the festival of commemorating Atatürk as well as youth and sport. 19th of May has demonstrated that even at the toughest times our nation did not submit to the impositions but always was able to draw its own roadmap. The struggle started in Samsun and continued in Ankara and reached its final goal in Izmir, and then was crowned by the proclamation of the Republic. The pride, the joy for this victory belongs to our nation. On this occasion, I would like to commemorate late Mustafa Kemal Atatürk as well as his colleagues and all of our martyrs and our veterans and our heroes who have given a heroic fight in reaching our independence. As we always say, the Republic of Turkey is not our first but rather our last state. In Cyprus and in other parts of the world, we have established other states as well. Our ancestors for many millennia from Asia to Europe and all the way to Africa in this broad landscape in different corners of the old world has continued a tradition of establishing states, and we continue that tradition as well. The last state that represents this tradition in our geography is the Republic of Turkey, and the 100th anniversary has been dedicated to bringing it to the level of modern states. When the history is deep, the dreams are big, the fight is big, and the state is big, the political will that is to rule the state has to come to formation accordingly. Turkey, in such having such a comprehensive vision, targets, and programs and projects. AK Party is the only political party, and the People's Alliance is the only political alliance that is able to have such a big vision and such major projects for the country. Hopefully, as the People's Alliance and as AK Party, in the future we will continue in full dedication our service of investment and projects, and we will continue reaching our country to its targets. Last week we have opened the Rize Artvin airport as well as the 1915 Çanakkale Bridge. This year we have opened many such big projects. Now we are going to see some footage that introduces this airport.
Çalışmaları başlattım. Rize ve Artvin'e ortak hizmet verecek bir havalimanını inşallah yapacağım.
Ulaştırma ve Altyapı Bakanlığı'nca yapılan Rize-Artvin Havalimanı'nın temeli 3 Nisan 2017'de Cumhurbaşkanımız Sayın Recep Tayyip Erdoğan tarafından atıldı. Türkiye'nin deniz doldurularak yapılan ikinci havalimanının temeli atıldığında binlerce uzman bu özel eseri inşa etmek için bir araya geldi. Üzerine her yıl binlerce uçağın iniş ve kalkış yapacağı pist ve üst yapı tesisleri inşa edileceğinden eserlerindeki ustalık ve mühendislik zekasıyla kendine hayran bırakan Mimar Sinan'ın Süleymaniye'de yaptığı gibi ön yükleme yaparak pist uzunluğundan yaklaşma ışıklarına, kaplama tipi ve kalınlığından oturma öngörülerine ve önlemlerine kadar onlarca farklı alanda hassas hesaplamalar yapıldı. havalimanını Karadeniz'in şiddetli dalgalarından koruyan mendireyi inşa etmek için her birinin ağırlığı 10 tona varan milyonlarca taş, kamyonlarla ve gemilerle taşınarak ortalama derinliği 18 metre olan deniz dolgu alanında 27 metre derinliğe kadar dolgu için kullanıldı. Deniz altında sismik cihazlarla ölçümlerin ardından 20.500 adet X blok elemanı dalgıçların titiz çalışmaları sayesinde ilmek ilmek yerleştirildi.
Tamam.
İleri mühendislik ürünü olan havalimanı aynı zamanda eşsiz bir mimariye de sahip olmalıydı. Terminal binası, yörenin geleneksel mimarisine bir saygı eseri olacak nitelikte taş ve ahşap kullanılarak tasarlandı. Çay'ın tüm mimari konsepte kendini hissettirdiği Rize Artvin Havalimanı'nın her köşesinde bu izleri de görmek mümkün. Terminal binası içerisine inşa edilen Çay Müzesi ile Çay'ın bu topraklardaki tarihi serüveninin izlenebildiği havalimanında Hava Trafik Kontrol Kulesi, ince belli çay bardağından, havalimanının girişi de çay yaprağından ilhamla yöre kültürüne olan bağlılık ve saygı mimari olarak ifade edildi. Rize Artvin Havalimanı'yla artık mesafeler daha kısa, gönüller daha yakın.
Ya Allah! Bismillah! Evet, Azerbaycan Devlet Başkanı
Yes, the President of Azerbaijan, Mr. İlham Aliyev, as well as
Cumhur İttifakı'nın diğer ortakları
other partners of the People's Alliance, Mr. Bahçeli and Destici,
tüm milletimize
and
özellikle
our nation,
o heyecanı bizlerle
I would
paylaştıkları
like to
için
thank
çok teşekkür
all
ederim.
of them for sharing this excitement with us.
Herhalde iftihar verici bir eser değil mi?
It's a proud work.
Dünyada deniz üzerinde 5 tane havalimanı var.
There are 5 airports in the world which are built on top of the sea.
Ve Rize,
Two of them are here
Her
in
ne kadar
between
bazı
Ordu Giresun
gafiller
and Rize
bu
Artvin
havalimanına
cities.
bile kulp takmaya
There
kalktıysa da
were some
biz
ignorant
açılış
circles who even
töreninde
found
milletimizin
some
heyecanını,
slander
mutluluğu,
about this
şükran
airport, but
duygularını
during the
bizzat
inauguration
gördük.
we have witnessed
Resmi
firsthand the
rakam olarak
excitement and
o
the
gün
enthusiasm
70.000
of our
kişinin
nation.
katıldığı
70,000 people
böyle bir
joined
açılış
the opening
hamdolsun
of the airport,
bizler
which
için ayrıca gurur
is
verici oldu.
very, again, a proud moment for us.
Ülkemizin Karadeniz kıyısındaki son şehirleri olan
Rize and Artvin are the most northernmost cities of our country, and this airport will allow them to reach their economic potential, and may this airport serve our nation well. In the past 20 years, we have made progress in democracy and development, and the goal is hopefully to reach 2023 as the pinnacle of the Republic, but also make it a new beginning for even more development. Yes, for our country and our nation and for ourselves, 2023 is not the end, but it is rather a new beginning, a new starting point for a big and strong Turkey.
Esasen AK Parti'nin kazandığı her seçim böyle
Every
bir
election
başlangıç.
won by AK Party was
İktidara
such a
geldiğimiz
beginning.
2002 Kasım seçimleri
The
istikrar ve
2002
güven
November
arayan Türkiye'nin
elections, when we
ilk
came
ayak
to
sesi.
office, were the first footsteps of a country that was looking for stability and security. The 2002 elections were entered despite tutelage, and this was a call for democracy and enlightenment. We had the enthusiasm for new projects and development in the 2011 elections, which was a demonstration of our will to make more progress in our country. Even though there were efforts to draw Turkey back to instability, we failed such attempts with the 2019 elections. The coup plotters and their backers received their response in the 2018 elections, and with the help of God and support of the nation, the 2023 elections will be another milestone in our target of a big and strong Turkey. Of course, this is also significant for those who have plans for our country and our region. Just like in the past, these forces are trying to make their own plans, and they're looking for politicians and NGOs, business people, and seemingly media members who would play as their instrument in our country. We One of the countries that we had a problem with, the president, the head of state, has confessed that there were circles that they were cooperating with so that they could change the government in Turkey. In the past, they were also cooperating with some other circles. We know the forces, the tutelage, and the coup plotters, the terror groups, and the fifth column activities that they cooperate with. We have limited their movement ground, and they have run out of options.
Kala kala hırsları boylarını aşan bir avuç kifayetsize ancak
They only have some incompetent people and players who are very incompetent in what they do. They came to office with certain conspiracies, and they only tell what everyone wants to hear, and they use lies, slander, and hypocrisy in their politics. And they have not a single word generated or not a single project made to the benefit of the nation. But they gain increasing courage in what they do. They underestimate the faith and the reason of the nation, sometimes using the oppression and sometimes using weapons or perception operations. They are poor and they're pitiful. Since the Democrat Party, our nation has inflicted many blows on them, but this dirty mentality does not draw any lessons from history and still continue what they do. Hopefully in 2023 we will drop their masks and we will end what they do, and we will bury them in the dusty shelves of the archives of politics.
Teşkilatlarımıza, milletvekillerimize,
our organizations, our mayors, and our organizations, I always ask them to be in the field and to work more in order to win the hearts of our nation. Our heart only looks to our God, and our face always faces our nation and nowhere else.
Ne diyor Akif? Allah'a dayan, saye sarıl, hikmete rağm ol. Yol varsa budur, bilmiyorum başka çıkar yol. Evet, biz de böyle yapacağız.
This is what we will do. We will continue new services and projects. We will continue working for our future and for our independence. We will continue our programs of development. We will work frankly and work hard. There are certain challenges which hit the whole world as well as us, but we will not compromise from our stance. As long as we continue doing this, our nation will always give us their support. The Republican People's Party and its entourage always come up with new lies and new slanders and new claims, and it is not even necessary to respond and to take it seriously. But despite this, because of our respect to the nation, we have to clarify certain points. First of all, CHP Istanbul, a provincial chairwoman, was convicted, and some of her convictions were also approved by the Supreme Court. And after this, they have started a campaign of lies and defamation against us. Of course, court rulings can be criticized, but this should not come to the level of insulting the rights and personalities of people, because this would be a subject of not politics but rather law. For everything that they say and every step that they take, they will be brought to account in front of a court of law. They have certain pain, that's why they are attacking right and left. Otherwise, they have started a new claim about Sadat, which has nothing to do with reason. A number of retired soldiers in 2012 have established this private company in order to give consulting services for defense. For many years, this company worked with Muslim countries which were under oppression. And then, based on the remarks of certain politicians, there were some lies covered in the media. For instance, a chairwoman of a political party claimed that there were armed training camps established in different parts of our country, as she expressed in a newspaper article. The court started an investigation. The prosecutor started an investigation and proved with documents that this was a mere lie. Now the person heading the CHP, without any reason to do so, has organized a visit to Sadat and has repeated similar lies. We know that this is not an innocent effort to create a new agenda, but it is an attack to Turkey's mediation role in some conflicts and its successful cross-border operations. We know where the advice to do so has come from, and we know why this time was chosen for this sortie. Once again, I express with my whole heart that you will fail.
Ve Sadat'ın yöneticileriyle, kendileriyle yakından uzaktan hiçbir alakam olmadığı
Even though I have no connection to Sadat and its executives, they
adeta darbeci bir kuruluş, oluşum olduğunu söyleyecek kadar
claim that it is a coup-plotting organization that we use. That is the extent that this chairman has lost his decency. Mr. Kemal, no matter what you claim, all day you claim many lies, and I have never seen you say anything honest. And your lies will not catch up, and what you have failed to do with coup plotters and terror groups, what you have failed with certain plans, you cannot achieve through a cartoon figure like Mr. Kemal.
Türkiye'nin kendi ayakları üzerinde durmasından, kendi hedeflerine yürümesinden
They do not want Turkey to stand on its own feet and to create its own area of influence. They should rather sit down and calculate how they can work with us. This would be easier for them and it would be the right thing to do. And as we say all these, we know that the people that we are talking to would not take any step that is to the benefit of our country and our nation. We use our diplomatic kindness and our reasons, but then they may continue on their own path. The nation's will and the God's will of course, manifest itself. But the mentality that we are facing, the malignant mentality, they're not sitting idle. Our ancestors tell us that those who stay still make more noise than those who make progress on the way. Now they have started criticizing the nation's garden that we are building at the Atatürk airport area with many lies and a lot of defamation. They are doing this in a very evil and very insidious way, and this scenario is beyond their caliber and above their league. Since the construction of the airport began, there were certain groups which were fearing that they would lose their own position as the center of trade in the world. So they have devised many lies and many slanders. As you know, the Democrat Party was established during the airport was opened, and the name of the airport was Yeşilköy Airport until the 12th September coup. If you remember old Turkish movies, all flights would take off from that airport, which had the Yeşilköy Airport sign. From that to February coup, all coup plotters, in order to cover the treachery that they conducted on our democracy, has always been using Atatürk as a mask.
12 Eylül darbecilerinin başı Evren'de
Evren was the head of the coup, and during his time as presidency, he changed the name of the airport to Atatürk in order to follow in the same footsteps. Those who are making a lot of, creating a lot of turmoil through the name of the airport never mention this fact, because their ultimate goal is not to protect the name of Atatürk, but rather use this as a shield as they build their own shady agendas. If they were indeed sensitive about the name of Atatürk, first of all, they would first bring to account those who call them the dogs of Mustafa Kemal. Those who do not bring them to account, their slanders are very evident. If they were frank, they would not partner with the political party that is ruled by the PKK terror group, and they would not leave their municipalities to the members of the terror organization. If they were indeed sensitive, they would bring to question the mayors which have treachery against their own cities, or they would not oppose the Atatürk Cultural Center, which is an important work in the city. We know that the main goal is not to preserve Atatürk's name, but rather to attack the progress of the country. In air transport and in commerce, Turkey's Atatürk Airport was insufficient, and if it continued its activities, it would have an impact on the most crowded parts of the city, and the activities would not be sustainable. Just like is done in different parts of the world, we have taken a step to solve this problem by building a new airport, but they took offense even from this. They could not come to terms with this. Only the cargo section is as big as the Atatürk Airport at the new airport, and in the development history of our country, this has been one of the most important steps taken. It is one of the top 3 airports of the world, and nobody has the power to change this fact. One pist of the Atatürk airport is serving the hospital that has been built there, and it is still kept under operation to serve when necessary. Kılıçdaroğlu is claiming the lie that it is done with money, it's built, constructed with money stolen from the public, but actually it was built without any single kuruş coming from the nation's budget, but to the contrary, it brings additional revenue to our nation's budget. For its location, its capacity, its technology, infrastructure, and its other features, it is one of the most prestigious airports of the world, and the aims, the plans to attack its reputation will fail. The nation's garden is being built at the Atatürk Airport, and they're objecting to it in the name of environmentalism. Now, when the nation's garden finished, let's see how it will look.
Daha yeşil ve yaşanabilir bir Türkiye için inşa edilen millet bahçelerimizin sayıları çoğalmaya devam ediyor. İstanbul, Türkiye'nin en büyük millet bahçesine kavuşuyor. Atatürk Havalimanı artık yepyeni yüzüyle 132.500 ağacın hayat vereceği, 5 milyon metrekarelik yeşil alanıyla, bilim ve sanat merkezleriyle, yürüyüş ve bisiklet yollarıyla, spor tesisleri ve çocuk oyun alanlarıyla, dünyanın en modern, en büyük ve yeşil kalkınma kriterlerine en uygun kent içi parkı oluyor. Atatürk Havalimanı Millet Bahçesi, İstanbulluların ihtiyaç duyduğu temiz havanın, doğayla kucaklaşmanın, huzurun ve dinginliğin merkezi haline geliyor.
Evet, İstanbul'un belediye başkanı olduğum dönemde
When I was the mayor of Istanbul,
şevlerine, orta şeritlerine, o zaman tabii fidan, ağaç böyle bir şey İstanbul'da yok.
along different roads of Istanbul, we have planted more than 1 million trees so that we could introduce more green to the city that needed it. But they try to compete against us in green. Mr. Kemal, neither you nor your followers can achieve such things. And I make a call from here. In Istanbul, Ankara, and Izmir, so far, how many nations' gardens have you built? Prove this to us and let's see.
Kaç tane yaptınız? Evet, bu hizmete itiraz edenin bırakınız çevreciliğini.
Those who object to such a project are not environmentalists or they're not politicians, but we should even doubt their human decency. This person in the past has owned up this nation's garden so much that he had even claimed that we eavesdropped on his phone calls and we stole the project from him. But Mr. Kemal, we don't have that much free time.
işimiz gücümüz yok Bay Kemal dinleyeceğiz. Ya sen
We
git
don't
işine
have
bak.
time to listen to
İşine
eavesdrop
bak.
on Mr. Kemal.
Şimdi dikilecek 132.500 ağacıyla,
Now, more than
yürüyüş yollarıyla,
100,000 trees
yaşlı
will be
bakım
planted.
evleriyle
There will be
ülkemizin gururu
walking
olacak bu
tracks,
projeye
and this will be
sadece
a very
karşı
proud
çıkmakla
project for
kalmıyor,
our
bir
country.
de
Now he's
buranın
not only
yabancılara
objecting to such
satılacağı
a project,
yalanıyla
but he is
milleti
also
galeyana götürmeye çalışıyor.
claiming the lie that this
Bir
will
diğer
be sold
taraftan da
to foreign investors.
burada
On the other
konutlar
hand,
yapılacak.
he is claiming that
Yalan.
houses will be built here. This is a lie.
2013'tü yanılmıyorsam
I
bir
think it
televizyon
was in
programında bana bu soruldu
2013. This was
ve
asked to me on
haşa
TV,
böyle bir
and I
şeyin
said
olması
no.
söz konusu
This
olamaz.
it could not be
İşte
possible, I
projeyi
said, and
şimdi
here
yine açıkladık.
we have just
Gerçi
declared,
bunlar şimdi
we've just
Almanı,
announced a project.
İngiliz'i, Fransızı, Yunan'ı, Amerikalısı değil. Sadece Arap'ı, Orta Asyalısı, Afrikalısı yabancı.
For them, the Westerners are not foreigners, but only Arabs and Africans are
Nitekim,
considered foreigners by them.
nitekim bu zatın Bosna Hersek direnişinin efsanevi komutanı ve lideri
The leader
merhum
of
Ali
the
İzzet
defiance
Begoviç hakkında
of
söylediği
Bosnia,
sözler
late
onun
Ali İzzet
aslında
Begovic,
hangi
what he
kriterlere
has
göre
claimed
bir
on
ayrım
him
yaptığını da gösteriyor.
demonstrates by which criteria
Biliyorsunuz
he
Aliya
makes
aynı
a
zamanda son
distinction.
dönem
Aliyah, as
İslam
you know,
dünyasının en
in
önemli
recent times
mütefekkirlerinden biri.
has been one of the most important
Aliyah'ın
thinkers of the
karargahını
Muslim world.
mağara
His
diyerek
headquarters
kendi aklınca
were called
değersizleştirmeye
a cave
çalışan
by
bu
him
zata
in
en
trying to
güzel
insult
cevabı
what he did, but
Boşnak
the best
kardeşlerimizin
response
sandıkta
has,
vereceğine inanıyorum.
I believe, will be given by our Bosnian citizens in the election polls.
Bay Kemal, bak sana ben şimdi bir şey hatırlatıyorum.
Mr.
Dikkat
Kemal,
et.
let me remind you,
Sen
you
mağarada yaşayanlarla siyasi ortaklık yapıyorsun.
have political partnership with
Onlarla sen
those
yoluna
who
devam et.
live in caves. You continue with them.
Ortaklığını sürdürdüğün o mağaradakilerin hali
You continue your partnership with those who live in caves, but we advise you to get rid of those who come from caves. Otherwise, your situation
bu
is
vesileyle
not doing well.
tarihe altın harflerle yazılan
On this occasion,
Boşnak direnişinde
at
hayatlarını
the
kaybeden
defiance,
şehitleri rahmetle yad
at the
ediyoruz.
Bosnian defiance,
Merhum Aliyah'ın
some
mirası
martyrs have lost
ve
their lives,
mücadelesinden
and I
bir
commemorate
haber
them.
kifayetsizlere rağmen
Those who have
biz
no
vefatından
knowledge
hemen
about
önce
the heritage and
elimizi
the legacy
tutarak
of Aliyah,
bıraktığı emanete
right before
sahip
his
çıkmayı
passing,
sürdüreceğiz.
we have held his hand, and we will continue protecting his legacy.
O da şuydu. Tayyip kardeşim
Which was,
buralar evladı Fatihan'dır.
my brother Tayyip, these are the land of conquerors,
Siz
the children of conquerors, and you have to protect this land.
onun için Bay Kemal başına uğraşma.
For this reason, Mr. Kemal,
Aynı şekilde verdiğimiz
it's
sözü
in vain, no
arkasında.
matter what you do, we continue keeping the
Aşağılık
promise.
kompleksi bunların ruhlarına öyle sinmiştir
They
ki,
have an
bizim
inferiority
medeniyet
complex
ve
in
tarih
their
dünyamıza
spirits.
ait her şeyden
Everything that
nefret
belongs to our
ederken,
history and
geçmişi
civilization
sömürür
they
ve
hate,
kanla dolu
but
batıya
they
kayıtsız şartsız bir hayranlık
submit in
Bay Kemal'in son çıkışı da bunun ispatı.
amazement to the West, whose history is full of
Arapça
blood.
mesajını, Türkiye'nin bir çıkarını savunmak
His
için değil,
first message in
Körfez
Arabic was
sermayesini
not
tehdit etmek
given
için.
in order to
Tüm dünya
protect
Körfez
Turkey's
sermayesini
interests,
çekmek
but rather
için
for
gece
the
gündüz
Gulf
uğraşır,
capital. The whole
kendini
world was
bunlar
working
Körfez
very hard
sermayesini ülkemizden
to
kaçırmak için
attract Gulf
çalışır.
capital, but they're working to do the
Sermaye
opposite, to
sahiplerinden
chase away
devletin
the Gulf
memuruna
capital.
kadar herkesi tehdit
From
ederek
capital
ülkeye
investors
yapılan
to
yatırımları
officers of the
engellemenin adı
country,
siyaset
they
değil.
try to threaten everyone in order to betray the investments that are to stop the investments that are being
Çünkü
made in
bunların
our
derdi
country,
ne
and this
ülkenin
is only
kalkınmasıdır,
treachery
ne
because
milletin refahıdır,
they don't
ne
care for the
Türkiye'nin geleceğidir.
development of the country
Bunlar
or the
sadece
prosperity of the
dışarıda
nation
hazırlanan
or the
projelerde
future of the
kendilerine
country.
verilen
They
görevleri
only
yaparlar.
fulfill the
Anlaşılan
duties that
o
they're
ki
given in
son
projects that
görevin
are
adı
prepared outside
son
the country.
havalimanı.
Probably the last mission that he was given is called Mission Airport. They try to insult and slander every new progress, and they always pick a fight with the values of the nation. And they make obvious the single party admiration that they have on every occasion. They don't have a single planted tree. They don't have a single project that they can be proud of, or they have no important service that they have offered to the hearts and minds of the nation. So they only threaten to take down, and they use a discourse of hatred. And this is because of the fascist legacy that they carry. Under the name of serving Istanbul, they should continue inaugurating fountains.
Biz İstanbul'la birlikte ülkemizin tamamına eserlerimizde
In addition to Istanbul, in all cities of our country, we will continue our investment and our new services. Hopefully, the 29th of May,
İstersen sen de gel.
Mr. Kemal, you're invited if you wish.
Atatürk Havalimanı'nda kutlayacağız.
We will celebrate it at the Atatürk Airport.
Sen böyle 700 kişiyi falan topla oraya götür.
You can gather 700 people and you can try to set up obstacles there, but that's in vain. On 29th of May, we will celebrate the conquest of Istanbul, and we will plant a tree and will lay the foundations for the new garden.
Değerli arkadaşlar, şundan emin olunuz ki
You can rest assured
bölgemizde
that
yaşanan gelişmeler,
the developments that take place in our region and the turmoil is closely connected to the turmoil on the country's agenda. For instance, the discussion on Syrian immigrants that is being experienced recently is part of this discussion as well. Certain politicians, we understand the reason for what they do, their duty, this is the duty or the order that they were given. But what we are really concerned about is that the CHP continues the same policies despite creating hatred in the country. This party published a report a few years ago and was criticizing the deficiency of the open door policy and the threats and lack of lasting solution and the health and vocation and participation, lack of services in adapting them to social life. They were claiming that much more should have been done. They were complaining from the lack of more effort. And the following sentence from this report we should read to CHP and its leader. The immigrants and refugee seekers in our country are being subjected to discriminatory discourse, and there should be no tolerance to such a discourse. This sentence comes from his own team. So for this very reason, CHP has a xenophobic and full of hatred discourse. We object to such discourse and we continue supporting the oppressed and the victimized. AK Party, together with our country and our nation, for all the victims of our country, we will continue protecting their rights as a civilizational or historic responsibility.
Ülkemizdeki her kesimden insanın ortak hayallerini,
people from different parts of our society have shared dreams and requests. We were able to fulfill these, and we were able to turn into a representation of hope in different parts of the world. And this was the vision that made this possible. We have a humanitarian stance, and this is covering all of our citizens which have prudence. Of course, there are those who are outside this circle. For instance, coup plotters or tutelage supporters, supporters of terror groups or enemies of their own country, or all types which are a manifestation of evil. They are all outside this cycle. Even if they have voted for different political parties in the past, anyone who shares the similar responsibilities are on our side of the line. In the past 20 years, with our services and our projects, we have solidified a local, national, and comprehensive progress in line with ordering good and preventing evil, and we will continue this position. Inside our country, just like every step that we take in all of our policies outside our borders, will continue with this philosophy. From the Balkans to Africa, in all parts of the world, as well as in Syria, Iraq, Libya, East Mediterranean, Karabakh, Ukraine, in all of these crises, we have moved, or we continue acting with this understanding. After the pandemic crisis in the world, the Ukraine-Russia war has posed bigger and more comprehensive threats, and the world is going through such a time period. Global administration and economy system is being shaken at its roots. Energy and raw material prices are increasing steeply, which is triggering inflation. This is causing economic problems, and in developed countries and everywhere else, people are suffering. These developments after the Second World War, humanity is once again seeing a war between Russia and Ukraine. The world has come to the verge of a big conflict which has once again emphasized security balances. NATO, in order to strengthen its eastern border, is making new searches, and in order to expand, they are taking certain steps as well. And dear colleagues, after the Ukrainian crisis, the solidarity and cooperation that was displayed in the region, as well as the resources that were allocated, and the tolerance, we watch it with teary eyes and with a smile on our faces, because for many years we have fought against terror. Our borders were attacked and major conflicts took place right next to us, as we were a NATO ally, but we have never seen such help, such a picture. Our only expectation from our NATO allies is that as Turkey protects its own borders and strengthens its own stability and security, its legitimate efforts should be welcomed with the same goodwill. Our allies, we expect them to understand our sensibilities and to respect them afterwards, and then if possible to support them. So, what are our sensibilities? We, against the attacks of terror organizations, we have a sensibility to protect our own borders. For many years we have suffered for this reason, and we have made losses and we have paid prices. We still do. Unfortunately, this sensibility, no ally was respected at the level and extent that we expected. I'm not even mentioning giving us support. PKK and Daesh, even when they were at our borders, the air defense system in our country were dismantled and taken away. Right by our borders, administrations have become sources of instability, and we have a sensibility on this. And the cost of this problem has been paid by hosting millions of
Batı ülkelerine
refugees.
yönelmediği sürece
As long as
bu
they do
konuda
not
da
go to
derdimizi
Western
paylaşan
countries,
hiçbir
unfortunately,
müttefik
no ally
görmedik.
has shared
Hatta
this
sırf
problem of
Türkiye'yi güç
ours.
durumda bırakmak
Only
için
to leave
bizden
Turkey at
bizi
a
bu
challenging
süreci tahrik
position
eden
secretly,
sözde
some
müttefikler bile.
so-called allies have
Bunlar kusura
ignited this
bakmasınlar.
process further, and
NATO'daki
they
müttefiklerimiz
are our allies within NATO.
bunları gayet iyi biliyor.
We know them quite well.
Bizim güçlü tarihi ve insani
We have
bağlarımızın
strong
olduğu
humanitarian and
kardeşlerimize
historic
karşı
links to
sorumluluklarımızdan
our brothers and
kaynaklanan
sisters, and because of this
hassasiyetlerimiz
responsibility, we
şartlar ne olursa
share,
olsun
we have a
biz
sensibility, no
ortak
matter
tarih
what the
ve
conditions are,
medeniyet
because
mirasıyla
of
bağlı
our
olduğumuz
shared
bu
historic
insanlara
and
sırtımızı
civilizational
dönemeyiz.
legacy. We cannot
Her
turn
ne
our
kadar
backs to these
NATO
people.
ve
No
Avrupa
matter
Birliği içinde
how
her
much
türlü
NATO, in
şımarıklığı
NATO
sergileyen,
and EU,
kendisine tahsis
there are
edilen devasa kaynakları
uh,
istismar eden
those who
kimi
abuse
ülkelere
some
sınırsız
countries
hoşgörü
abuse
gösterseler
the
de
resources that they're
müttefiklerimizin
allocated, and
bizi
they're
bu
still met with
yaklaşımımızı paylaşmadıkları
unlimited
çok açık.
tolerance. It's
NATO
clear that the
içindeki
same
müttefiklerimizin
sensibility is
bize
not
karşı
shared with us. Our
sergiledikleri
allies
tüm bu
within
tavırlara
NATO,
rağmen
despite
biz
all of these
ittifak
attitudes
içindeki
towards us, we
sorumluluklarımızı
continue
bilhakkın yerine
fulfilling our
getirmeye çalışıyoruz.
responsibilities within the
Bugün de
alliance.
ittifakın faaliyetlerine
Today,
fiilen en
in
çok desteği veren
activity, in
ülkelerin
practice,
başında
we are one of the
bizleriz.
top countries which
Ama
give
bu
the most support
önümüze
to the
getirilen her
activities of the
teklife
alliance.
sorgusuz,
But this does
sualsiz
not mean
evet
that we
diyeceğimiz
say yes to
anlamına da
every
gelmez.
proposal without
NATO'nun
questioning that we are
genişlemesi bizim için
presented with. The
hassasiyetlerimize
enlargement of
gösterilecek
NATO
saygı oranında
for us
anlamlıdır.
is meaningful only to the extent that our sensibilities are respected.
Her türlü
So,
desteği verip
giving every
hem
kind
de
of
bizden
support to the
NATO
PKK
üyeliği için
YPG terror
destek
group
istemek
on the one hand,
hafif
and on the other
tabiriyle
hand, asking
kararsızlık.
for our support for NATO members is, in the least expression, it's incoherence.
Caddelerinde
On
PKK'nın,
their streets,
YPG'nin teröristleri
the PKK or
ülkenin
YPG
polislerinin
terrorists
kontrolü,
are
desteği
marching
halinde yaptırılırken
under the support of the police of that country. And as this is
Fransa'da
happening
yapılanlar,
right here, what took place in France or in Germany or
İsviçre'de
in
yapılanlar,
Netherlands or
İsveç'te yapılanlar,
in Sweden or
bunları
Switzerland,
görmeyecek.
should we be
İsveç'te
blind to
en
them?
son
In
yapılanlar
Sweden, what
ve
has happened
30 tane
recently,
teröristi
and
istedik,
we have asked for
vermeyiz dediler.
30 terrorists, but
Siz
they said they would not
teröristleri
give.
bize vermeyeceksiniz.
So you don't give terrorists to us, but then you ask for our support in NATO
Bir
membership.
güvenlik
NATO
oluşumudur,
is a
bir
security
güvenlik teşkilatıdır.
organization, a
Dolayısıyla
security
bu
formation,
güvenlik
and
teşkilatını
this
güvenlikten
security
yoksun hale
organization
getirmeye
should,
biz evet
we cannot
diyemeyiz.
agree to taking security out of this organization.
Bu yanlış bir kere yapıldı.
This mistake was conducted in the past
Yunanistan ve Fransa bunlar NATO'dan
with
çıkmışlar.
Greece. Greece and France had left NATO, and
Maalesef bizler o zaman evet,
unfortunately at the time we agreed to their
Müslüman bir
coming
sorumluluğu
back.
elden bir daha sokulmaz.
But a Muslim would not be deceived twice in the same way.
Şu anda pazartesi günü gelmek istiyorlar.
Right now they
Boşuna
want to come
yorulmasın.
on Monday, but they should
Gerek
not
yok.
trouble themselves. There's no need.
İsveç'te
The stance
hala
is
yürüyor.
clear. They're in Sweden, they're still
yürüyüşler
marching,
Devam
and
ediyor.
those marches continue.
Paçavralarıyla beraber
With all of their so-called flags, they
Aynı
are
şey
on the streets.
Almanya'da
The same
devam ediyor.
happens in Germany as
Bütün
well,
paçavralarıyla beraber.
with their
Ve
so-called
bunlara
flags.
her türlü
And
desteği
every kind of
maalesef
support,
kendileriyle
unfortunately,
uzun
is
uzadıya konuştuğumuz halde
given, even though we
vermeye
have
devam
discussed this with them at length.
Türkiye artık bu işe
Turkey is
onların baktığı gibi bakmıyor.
no longer looking at it the way that they are looking at it.
2016 yılından beri
Since
Güney sınırlarında
2016,
uyguladığı bir güvenlik
Turkey
stratejisi
has been running a security strategy in its southern border.
Reyhanlı'dan
And within the
Cizre,
strategy, from
oradan
Beyhanlı to
Şemdinli'ye
Cizre
uzanan hat
to
boyunca
Şemdinli, along
coğrafyanın
that
ve
line,
tehdidin durumuna göre
depending
değişmekle
on
birlikte
the level of
derinliği
the geography
ortalama
and the
30
threat,
kilometre olan bir
there is a
güvenlik
30
hattı
kilometer
oluşturuyor.
deep security line
Ülkemizi
is
ve
being created.
vatandaşlarımızı
to protect our country and nation from the breaches of terror groups and to prevent an influx of refugees. We need such a security zone. And I would like to repeat once again that we don't have our intention set on the property or sovereignty or property or a single inch of land of anyone. Our only goal is to prevent actions that threaten the security of our people and to stop them at the root. If this power and will was demonstrated by our counterparts, we would not feel such a need and we would not have to take such actions. But the conditions have forced us to do so. The terror threat or immigration threat or the trap of sectarian discrimination, none of these will let Turkey distract from its democracy and development goals. In the past, these games, these plans have been made multiple times, and those who try them again, despite all of their resources, will fail. Currently, the money given to these countries are very clear. Hundreds of millions of euros are being given to them and so that the terror group can grow further. Thousands of trucks of equipment, ammunition and weapons have been sent to terror groups in Turkey. And these are our partners, these were our partners within NATO. So, sorry, but we will not be deceived once again in the same way.
Sınırlarımız boyunca oluşturmayı planladığımız güvenlik bölgelerinin
along our borders, we are trying to create security zones, most of which have been completed already, and our steps for the remaining ones will be taken as soon as possible. Especially with our interlocutors in the region, we will reach the necessary agreements and hopefully, as soon as possible, we are trying to secure some zones left in between. So our allies in NATO and countries which have forces in the region, I call out to them, come and support this legitimate humanitarian ethical operations of Turkey. At least do not try to block us. Democracy, security, prosperity and peace are not only your right, but it's also the right of our nation and the victims that have taken shelter in us and victimized in the zones that we have made secure. Different than our allies when it comes to democracy and security operations, we conduct them in a way that does not harm any innocent or without breaching the dignity of any civilian. If there was anything to the contrary, they would make many claims about it all over the world. 500,000 Syrians have been able to go back to their homeland. 57,000 homes have been completed, and another 30,000 are either being planned or under construction. So with this, families which are living in difficult conditions in tents will be provided with places that have better humanitarian conditions. Now, with the support of international aid organizations, we have designated 13 different settlements, so from industry to agriculture to education, with the full infrastructure. Cities are being constructed which can hold 1 million. So come and support our activities in the secure zones and let's see how it changes the world of children.
الشمالي مقيم حاليا بمخيمات الكمونة، وبنشكر الشعب التركي وبنشكر السيد الرئيس رجب طيب أردوغان والشعب التركي أجمعين.
İnşallah önümüzdeki aylarda
Hopefully, in future months, we will secure additional zones and the number of these permanent homes will be increased. Our target is to reach 100,000 homes at least and above. As you know, as you can see, everybody is doing what they do best. There are those who try to create seeds of hatred and unrest and strifes. We, on the other hand, are trying to take steps to build the future of the country with new projects and also to provide such innocent people with a home that they can live in. May God help us. With such thoughts in mind, I wish you success in your parliament activities, and I send my regards and my greetings to all of you.
Sayın Cumhurbaşkanımıza konuşmalarından dolayı teşekkür ediyoruz. Grup toplantımız sona ermiştir. Değerli milletvekili arkadaşlarım, saat 14'te genel kurul toplanacaktır. Başkanlık tezkeresi var, oylamalı yapılacaktır. Milletvekili arkadaşlarımızın toplantıda hazır bulmalarını, açılışta hazır bulmalarını önemli rica ediyorum. Teşekkür ediyorum Sayın Cumhurbaşkanım.